Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today I'm at home with Honda and we're going to take a look at the all-new 2022 Honda Civic. And what I've done here, even though just based on what was in inventory, this is a touring trim level. We've got a 21 sport trim level here, but just to kind of show some of the differences between the two as far as size and body lines and all that kind of stuff, I've parked these two side by side and we're going to do the best comparison that we can. And I know a lot of you are often asking me to feature lower trim levels. Well, like I said, this is what was available and we will feature lower trim levels of the 22 model. But let's take a look at exactly what's new with a quick montage of the exterior of the 21 and the 22 Civic. And of course, today's video would not be possible without my friends here at Holmes Honda in Shreveport, Louisiana. They've given me the keys to both models for the day so we can take a look at everything and see what's new and what's different. And one thing we're going to do is go out on the road. I'm going to give you a clip from the 21 to see what the road noise is like. We're going to hit that same stretch of road that is rather washboarded out. It's a very rough road, so a lot of opportunity for road noise examples. And then we'll take the 22 out and do the same thing on the same stretch of road and see what the differences are. Now, just to avoid getting any thumbs down, no, I'm not going to say what many others have said about this 22 version, the 10th generation of the Civic. I'm not going to say that it's anything more than, well, matured. Yeah, I'm not going to say that. And if you know what I mean, you can mention it in the comments. If you don't know what I mean, say it in the comments, and I promise people will tell you. So right off the bat here is a big difference. The front end is a little more elongated here on the 22 model. The A-pillar has been pushed back by 2 inches, and that's a good thing because that's going to improve driver visibility. That is definitely one thing I noticed between the two, just putting them in position for what we're doing here right now as far as not having been out on the road yet, but I did notice that driver visibility is better with the 22. Not that it was bad with the 21, but that's pretty impressive that Honda could improve on something that didn't necessarily need to be improved upon, and yet it is. A couple of interesting points to note based on comments that I've seen. One person said that the 22 version looks like a smaller version of the Honda Accord. Someone also said it looks like a Toyota Camry. And while I can't say that I see the look of the Camry in the 22 Civic, it might look a little bit like a scaled down version of the Accord, but I'm curious to know exactly what you think down in the comments. Let's talk a little bit about transmission options. Yes, there are a couple available. Now, outside of the hatchback, the SI, and the Type R, you will get the CVT transmission on all other trim levels. What about engine options? There are 2 available. Here are the details.
Engine options are as follows: the 1.5-liter 4-cylinder and 2-liter 4-cylinders. The LX and Sport trim levels will get the 2-liter 4-cylinder that makes 158 horsepower and 138 pound-feet of torque. As for the EX and Touring trim levels, you will find the 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with an output of 180 horsepower and 177 pound-feet of torque.
And with a stronger body, that's not the only change as far as the overall vehicle goes for 2022. You will find that the rear track is slightly wider. That's going to improve overall stability. The chassis has been upgraded, steering has been upgraded, and so has the suspension. So that makes me very interested to find out exactly what the test drive is going to be like, because I believe there will be some noticeable differences for the better. With a slightly longer wheelbase, the first thing I noticed when I hopped into the back seat here is there is a little bit more room, and Honda achieved that not so much by increasing space overall in the interior, but they actually slightly reclined these back seats just a little bit, but enough to really give you a little bit more comfort. You just feel like you have more space here, and as you can see, the passenger seat, the passenger front seat is pretty far back, but there is a lot of room here available that I'm not able to use just because of the position of the front seat, but yet I'm pretty comfortable back here. I could stretch out a little bit more if that was further forward. You do have a couple of USB ports back here, and there is a really positive change that you're going to find on certain trim levels. Let's talk about exactly what that is when we hop into the front seat. Let's talk a little bit about what you'll find, at least on the Touring trim level, as far as what's available. Of course, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto integration are available on not just the Touring trim levels, but all trim levels. Here's a look at the dashboard as far as how that looks. But let's talk about something that is a big improvement, at least that's what Honda says, as far as the safety system goes. You no longer have the radar system, it's now a camera, and Honda says that it's more accurate, it's quicker to respond, it does a better job of seeing the lines going down the road. So overall, that sounds like a big improvement right there for 2022. And as far as the overall layout and design, you're definitely going to see some changes here. You see the honeycomb design here with the air conditioning vents and just the trim across the center section of the dashboard. And something that might be of interest to some of you is the fact that you hear a click when you adjust the air conditioning. Hopefully you can hear that. Hopefully you could hear that. And of course, wireless charging here for your cell phone, that's a good thing. And just overall, let's just take a look at what you have here across the dashboard with your connectivity, with the shifter, all your different controls here for driving modes, turning that auto start stop feature off so you save the life of your starter. That's always a good thing. And one thing that I noticed here that I personally like a lot is that there is actually a finger rest right here. It's not really a hand rest, although I guess you can, but you can kind of see what I'm doing with my hand right here, just right here in front of the infotainment screen. That is a change as far as the overall positioning. It's more of a floating screen now for 2022. It's not inset into the dashboard, and I must say, it's very quick to respond. I like that. And something else that's interesting here, you do have a couple of integrated buttons here over on the left-hand side. It looks, when you just look at it from the driver's seat, it kind of looks like those are just part of the screen, but they're actually buttons right there. And of course, you have the knob for the radio, and something we learned with the Honda Ridgeline. That's what apparently Ridgeline owners wanted, because that was something that was added for 2021. You've got a knob there, nothing new right here, but still very, very well done. And the thing about it is that everything is tastefully done. It looks like it's just kind of stepped up a few notches. I wouldn't say it's luxury level, but it's not far from it. And the best part, everything is very easy to use, very easy to learn. Yes, there are some changes, but nothing to be afraid of. So overall, you've seen what everything looks like. We've talked about what's new for 2022. My favorite part always is the test drive, and I'm very excited to see how this model handles out on the road. Okay, now that I've been out on the road for a little while, I drove both the 21 and the 22 models. What's the comparison? Well, obviously you heard the comparison between the road noise in both models, and I don't know that I could really tell a big difference there. But then again, when you're on a road as bad as the road we were on for that basic comparison test, well, it's going to be pretty bad no matter what. We're on a little bit better road here, obviously, because it's paved. So here is my initial assessment. The 22, I almost want to say feels new, but when I think about my drag racing background, when I would get a new car, the car would just feel tight. It would react better. It was easier to drive because it wasn't worn out. You put enough runs on a race car, eventually the chassis gets worn out. The best way I can describe the 22 model of the Civic is that it feels tight. It really has that feeling of just being planted to the road. It feels stable. It's probably the best way I could put it. So overall, I am really impressed, and it's not that the 21 model was lacking in that area, but again, that just kind of seems to be the order of the day, so to speak, with these 10th gen Civics, is that, well, they've been improved upon in areas that didn't necessarily need improving. I'm very impressed at what Honda has done here. The steering is improved. I talked about how there were changes there. It does feel a little more tight again. You just feel more in control. And it's not that you didn't feel in control with the 21 model, but everything's just better. I don't know what else to say. I don't want to keep repeating myself over and over again, but overall, it is just a super impressive experience. So let's do a little test here with acceleration. And even that's better. That definitely seems to be better as well, but just the overall handling is what grabs my attention the most. And one thing that I did notice when I was sitting at a couple of the red lights, came to a complete stop, I always turn the auto stop start feature off. We talked about that earlier. I want to save the starter. I don't know, maybe I didn't talk about that in this video. I've shot a couple of videos today, but that's one of the reasons why I turned that feature off, because I can save the starter on the vehicles that I'm featuring in the videos. But here's the thing. I had to make sure the engine was still running because it was idling so smoothly, I couldn't tell that it was on. Look down at the tachometer, it was still running. The auto stop start feature was turned off, but that's something else that I think is quite an interesting experience. I don't remember noticing that in other Civics of the past, and it's not that there was a rough idle or anything like that, but I don't know, just kind of an observation, just myself noticing that. And keep in mind, you know, I do have a racing automotive background, so I'm going to notice things that a lot of people probably are not going to notice. And we're going to go through our corner here, not at any high rates of speed or anything like that, but just kind of cruising through here, see how it handles. Wow, I am very impressed. I mean, just hugging the road. Wow. That is super impressive, I must say. Kudos to Honda for everything they have done. Remember, like I said, suspension, chassis has been updated, steering has been updated, and that is all reflected in the driving experience. And the overall ride quality is good. Like I said, visibility is good because of the changes to the front end and to these A-pillars. I must say, I really like the difference there. That is noticeable, at least to me. And of course, I just took the 21 model out and pretty much drove the same route, just so I had a good, accurate comparison to give all of you who are taking the time to watch. Everything's easy to use, easy to get to. And that is a tour of the 2022 Touring Honda Civic. Tell me down in the comments, guys, do you want to see the sport trim level? I know they've got at least one in inventory here at Holmes Honda. If that's what you'd like to see as opposed to the touring trim level, tell me and I'll get that done as quickly as I can. What do you think about the 2022 Honda Civic? Tell me down in the comments. Do you like it? Do you not? And tell me why. Gotta say a special thanks to my friends here at Holmes Honda for loaning me this model for the day, and all of you for being kind enough to take the time to watch and give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye-bye.